welcome guys to another video of kind of like a weird match report, because in this one I'm going to be talking about both the Sunderland game that happened on Saturday and also Chelsea's game today. And obviously it's a bit of a mixed video because on Saturday we took care of business. Really, it was a performance, kind of like very workmanlike performance is what I want to say, is because again, the result really didn't have any kind of like good points about the match, to be fair. One goal, 1-0 is kind of a reflection of that, because I thought we were quite flat in that match as well. Didn't create a lot of chances. We in turn rested a lot of players for today's game against Chelsea, but that decision didn't ultimately pay off because we lost today 1-0 as well. And people were really saying how Robin van Persie has lost his touch, etc. But I have to say, I think that's quite hyperbolic and a bit exaggerated, really, because today both teams didn't really show up. There was two defining moments, and they were great moments that defined the game, because one, Demba's finish was unerring, and you have to put your hands up today saying that Chelsea did definitely deserve that goal because they were the team on top. And also the moment that Javier Hernandez Chicharito was through, header, goal bound, I thought, and then Petr Cech somehow reaches his enormous left hand up, tipped it over the bar. I thought there was so much pace and power on the cross from Danny Welbeck that it wouldn't have made any difference if Petr Cech had a hand on it. But ultimately, that's what you pay your top keepers for, to keep you in the game. And today he had one of his great saves. To be fair, before that, and both teams looked very, very flat, and you could tell it was definitely two games in the space of 48 hours, because sloppy passes were all over the place. United was particularly poor in the first 10-15 minutes. Petr Cech, he had one or two nervous moments, I would say, against Chicharito and Nani, but rather than that, both keepers was rarely troubled. Both basically just had a catching practice, really, because of poor deliveries or what else. So in that respect, in the Chelsea game, obviously is a very disappointing end to the season. Well, I say that because we had the kind of like the dream of the treble and a double so close, and it was a really realistic ambition, I would say, in the whole scheme of things, because we were in good positions, but again, luck and fate and some bad performances and kind of like loss of concentration for the vital minutes ultimately cost us and dumped us out of both the Champions League and the FA Cup. But we have to move on, and it's in the DNA of the club to get ourselves back up, dust ourselves off, and concentrate on the next game. And it comes no bigger than the Manchester derby, because that could be a defining match for this Premier League season, because we are in a very commanding position, 15 points clear. Not a lot of bookies will be betting against us retaining or getting our 20th league title, but you never know, because if City win a convincing display, that could have a huge momentum shift in the whole of the context, and that would perhaps make us less convinced of ourselves, and then that domino effect that's going to ultimately have on the team. You never know. So that is kind of like one reason that we have to get ourselves ready, dusted off for next Monday. It's going to be a huge game. It's always going to be exciting between the two clubs. Like I said, the game back in December was a classic, really had everything in it. Goals, the momentum shift between the two sides, a pendulum, and Robin van Persie popped up with a late winner. And I'm sure a lot of you guys would be happy to settle for 1-0, but I'm sure there was going to be a lot of goals in that game. I myself personally hope not, because I would like us to keep out the City, keep this kind of like clean sheet going. But again, it's going to be a very tough game, and I'm sure we're all looking forward, because there is less pressure than there was last year because of our commanding position, obviously. But again, it will be just as important for us to get a victory this time round. Now, just going back to the Sunderland game, we had a few injuries coming from that game, particularly in the defence area with Raphael and Johnny Evans coming off. I don't think they're very serious, but again, they will be they were rested today against Chelsea, so they are hoping to be fit for the Manchester derby. Vidic was rested today at Chelsea. Rooney was left out in the squad entirely because he picked up a groin injury, and over most of that, that's probably about it. Paul Scholes is still out, perhaps. I think indicating that he will. This is definitely his last season at the club, in terms of a player role. But again, like I said, it's been a mixed 48 hours between the games. Sunderland, yes, we were 18 points up for a few hours, but again, City, had a good victory on Newcastle 4-0 at home. So City are still definitely kicking. Even though they're so far behind us, we need to remain professional, and definitely we have a week now off to freshen ourselves up. Thus, don't feel sorry for ourselves, and be ready for the fight that City's gonna prepare to give us on Monday night. The last thing that City want is just lay down and let us have the title, because that will look bad for them. And if they push us close, as a result of winning this contest, convincingly, then they will almost regret that they didn't kick on earlier. But again, it's going to be a very competitive match between City and us on Monday night. I hope you guys can join, Sky Sports or whatever online streaming service you're watching. It's going to be a huge match. I'm expecting a firecracker of a match, because I think our squad will be back. Phil Jones played today. Nani was back today, although he was appalling. I cannot wait myself to see Wilfred Zaha in a United shirt, just for the pure fact that he takes people on. He's not afraid. Just an exciting prospect, like a young Cristiano Ronaldo used to do. I'm not sure what has happened to our wingers this season, because Ashley Young, Valencia and Nani has been all really poor, and that has let us utilise Welbeck on the left and stuff like that, and that is an indication of how bad our wingers has been. So I hope the introduction and injection of youth from Zaha will be catalyst for next season for our wingers to have another great season. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself saying about next season, but now we need to concentrate on the league. Hopefully that we need to secure the league as soon as possible, and so we can enjoy that winning sensation. I think winning the league will be vitally important this season, particularly because we've got a very good nucleus of young players that is coming through. Welbeck, Cleverley, Phil Jones, Raphael, etc., and David De Gea as well. If those core group get a Premier League now, when they're still in their early 20s, I think they'll have a strong foundation for us to build upon. So that'll be a great incentive, I think, for Sir Alex and all the players to get, as well as obviously the man himself, Robin van Persie, getting his first ever medal. So that will be a good incentive for us, and hopefully we can do the business against City. I'm sorry guys if this video has been a bit a bit improvised, if you like, because I mismash both games together, and hopefully it'll produce a decent video. I know it's probably not as detailed as I usually talk about them, but again, both games were really uneventful, really, and so I thought might as well save it up and just do one together, because like I said, uneventful, but again, mixed emotions. The Sunderland game was a workmanlike performance, but Chelsea, only two defining moments, and they swung in Chelsea's favour, and that's what ultimately decided the match. So disappointing result today, but again, we have the league to concentrate on. We are in a fantastic position to be in at this stage of the season with only 8 games to go, and so let's hope that we can get a victory against Man City. So that will be it for this video, guys. Please rate the video, comment below for any of the topics, what happened to our wingers, the Gea performances, Robin van Persie, Baron gold route, if you like. Wherever you want, guys, just comment them below, and I'll try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. And subscribe to the channel. If not, please, you can follow us on Twitter at Man United Daily, or visit the website, as I should say, at manuniteddaily.com as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.